Good afternoon, Americans, those living and those aspiring to be, and anyone who is just interested in learning, any responsible men or women. Today, I've been meaning to bring something to everyone. I just have been working on how to present it, and I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna read it, talk about it. Put it on the screen so everyone can see it and follow along. That way you know what comments are mine and what's Anna's. Anyway, so this is an entry from Anna Von Retz. It's titled "For Ammon Bundy and Ron Vroomall and All Other Patriots, Part 1. And the reason it's so important I'm bringing it to you is because it really explains very concise how your organic governments come to be, and where do the assemblies come from. It starts with the people and the state citizens, unincorporated, and your counties, unincorporated, and your states, and then it talks about the land jurisdiction versus the sea and international and all that. So it's excellent. So I figured I'm just gonna read it and put it on the screen. Let's get started. So Anna says, this part is about you and your American government. What I'm going to describe for you is your actual government. I want you to imagine a map of your home state showing all the counties. Most of us are of an age that can do that without any trouble, but for the younger people who have never seen a county map of their state of the union, just go online, hit the search bar with an inquiry like this: county map of Wisconsin. And a multicolored political map resembling a crazy quilt will appear. County map of my home state, Anna's home state, for those just listening. Wisconsin looks like this. And see, we have all the counties. All the counties make up the shape of the state. All these counties taken together create a state of the union. You could see at a glance that you are looking at Wisconsin. And even though it is cut up into all these county pieces, each one having physical boundaries. Now, if you were to create a map like this showing all the states and all the counties in each state, you'd be looking at over 3,100 counties total. And what you would also be looking at as a whole is called the United States. And I believe she's referring to the unincorporated, the Union of States. And that's what she says right here. The United States is also called the Union. The United States represents the national soil level jurisdiction of our country. This is, by definition, a layer of soil that is 6 inches deep, overlaying the land within each county and reaching contiguously to our country's borders. The underlying land jurisdiction is an international jurisdiction that extends deep into the earth. The counties don't appear in this jurisdiction. All that appears in international jurisdictions of the land and the sea is the outline of the state. And I believe she's referring to two separate jurisdictions here, of the land and of the sea. Separate. Below is a map of the state called Wisconsin, with the location of a few cities shown as dots. And here we have... I'll leave it up there for a sec. The state represents the county's soil and surface waters, the national jurisdiction, and the land and sea, international jurisdiction. Attached to Wisconsin, both for the purposes of international recognition and trade. Thus, our states are nation states. They include the state formed by all the counties taken together, as well as the international jurisdiction owed to each state. We acquire our nationality from our state because each state is also a nation state. So Anna says, I am a Wisconsinite. You may be a Texan, a New Yorker, a Minnesotan, or hail from somewhere else in this great country. But wherever you were born and wherever you move to, you and I are also Americans. As a note there, I'm a Pennsylvanian, and only just this year did I realize the word yins, like yin, people in Pittsburgh use it a lot. Yins is short for Pennsylvanians. Did not realize that till probably a few months ago. Anyways, back into it. Each one of the 50 states joined together to form a federation of states called the United States of America. The federation is how we get our American status. Early on in 1776, the states agreed to place certain mutual powers in the care of the Federation of States so that they could provide their people with such conveniences as a common defense, common currency, interstate roads, access to seaports, and free access to each other's commodity markets. Thus, we have the United States and the United States of America both. Just imagine the crazy quilt map of all the counties comprising our country, and you can see the United States, unincorporated. Now imagine a common map of the 50 states, such as you have seen all your life, and you're looking at the United States of America. Each state is governed by the state assembly, defined as all the people who are living permanently within the state's borders who are claiming state nationality and or state citizenship. And as she didn't put it there, but just by the fact that it says people who are living, this would be then your unincorporated. So just a reminder, these are your unincorporated people who form your unincorporated state assembly. So as babies, we all start out as state nationals because we take our nationality from the soil we are born on. Later, when we reach the age of 21 or over, we can choose to accept the responsibilities of state citizenship and enjoy both the hard work and the rights of self-governance. The hard work and the rights of self-governance. And in 1781, each state of the Union also formed a state-of-state organization, and these joined together to form a confederation. The Confederation was set up under the Articles of Confederation and did business as the States of America from 1781 to 1860. If you were to look at a map of the Confederation, it would look the same as the 50-state map of the United States of America, but instead of showing the names of the states, as in simply Wisconsin, Vermont, California, etc., it would show the names of American states of states. This is huge. So, the state of Wisconsin, the state of Vermont, the state of California. To emphasize that there is a difference between all of these is paramount. These Confederate states, were both North and South, are not physical states like the states of the Union. These are business organizations set up to perform routine functions of government for the state and to carry on business for the state when the actual state assembly is not in session. Being a government of, for, and by the people of this country, it was understood that we have lives and businesses apart from constantly operating our government. So the state assembly is our actual government, and the corresponding state of state is meant to take care of our business according to our standing directions when our assembly is not in session. Now, something called the Civil War happened, which destroyed this happy vision of people-centered government. The Confederation broke apart in 1860 and has never been reconstructed. Instead, all the assets of our American states of states were rolled into state trusts, and British territorial businesses calling themselves by very similar names and took over the routine business functions on an emergency basis. And before the Civil War, we had American states of states doing business as, for example, the state of Oregon. After the conflagration, we have had both the state of Oregon, as in that's not part of the official name, so just State of Oregon, I think. And that is a British territorial entity and the State of Oregon. So all caps here. That's a municipal corporation, substituting for our intended American state of state. And I know if you look up, I wish I had it pulled up, but you can look up on like Dun and Bradstreet, and the corporation doing business that people think is the state of Pennsylvania is, all caps Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But there is also a all caps state of Pennsylvania. I mean, there's so many different corporations doing different things that people think is all the same. They are not. Anyway, this usurpation, based on emergency powers which were never granted, means that the day-to-day business operations of our states have been entrusted to foreign state-of-state organizations for over 100 years, and like Rip Van Winkle, we've slept on. Our state assemblies were quietly replaced by district assemblies, different than state assemblies, both territorial district assemblies and municipal district assemblies. So these would be by U.S. citizens and United States citizens, municipal citizens and territorial citizens. There is a difference. Whereas the state assemblies are organic, and that is the state nationals and state citizens, unincorporated, living men and women. So now, what are we talking about? Look at the map showing the outline of Wisconsin with a few dots representing cities. The cities represent a third separate jurisdiction. Let's go back up to that. See. Third separate jurisdictions, cities, is municipal. Called municipal jurisdiction, like she says, which is a global jurisdiction. This is what they call the empire of the city. There aren't supposed to be any incorporated cities or municipalities in our country except for Washington, D.C. But there are. There have been municipal state-of-state organizations and municipal boroughs established also. This is a separate issue and a problem our country is facing thanks to the malfeasance and breach of trust by both the popes and the British monarchs. The popes, municipal, British monarchs, territorial, but they work together. For more on that, look up I've got it on my page here, the Assembly Handbook. Gives a good full story of that. So, but right now, all of these foreign territorial states of states and municipal state-of-state organizations are bankrupt. They and their principals owe us far more than they could ever pay. And we woke up to all this long-standing fraud and called the actual states to assemble. Only the states have the power to reconstruct our own American state-of-state organizations, and only the states and people have the ability to liquidate the state trusts, which have been operating under names like Ohio State, Nevada State, New York State, and so on. Only our nation states are populated by living people, competent and able to make these decisions for our country. And our lawful people operating as state citizens or as officers of the United States of America can enforce the federal constitutions. Welcome home to the actual American state government. So number 1, the people of the United States, unincorporated, formed by our unincorporated counties. 2, the people of the United States of America formed by our unincorporated states of the Union. And 3, the persons, which is not people, the persons of the Confederation doing business as American states of states. And this one is long lost in the fog surrounding the end of the Civil War. Please note that the entire Civil War was fought by Confederate states, both North and South. It was a mercenary conflict, not a declared war. The men were mustered out by the state of New York, the state of Florida, for example, not by any actual state government. Read that. The actual states were not involved in the Civil War. Our state assemblies and our congressional deputies never voted on the Civil War, and our states and people are, as a result, peaceful, non-combatant third parties, as well as the actual owners of every square inch of land and soil. So, this is our American government. These are your nation states, your states of the Union, and your rightful American states of states, which you have to reconstruct, and which nobody else can reconstruct. Number 1. Unincorporated counties form the nation states, and together the nation states form the United States, the Union of States, unincorporated. Number 2. Unincorporated states represent the nation states in the international jurisdictions of land and sea, and together form the unincorporated federation doing business as the United States of America. 3. Unincorporated American states of states are supposed to be conducting the routine business of their states, but they have been mothballed since the 1860s, waiting for the state assemblies to come into session and finish the Reconstruction. You've got that right. The Reconstruction from the Civil War was never taken care of. So, it's the absence of these, well, she has it in quotes, absence, because the usurpers dealt with us as if we were absent of these. So it's the absence of these American states of states which has given rise to the suppositions of of other nations that we, the American states, no longer exist. Our state assemblies haven't met for decades. That's changed now. And we haven't been minting our own coinage. We haven't stepped forward and directed the operations of these state trusts. We haven't sat on and disciplined our federal, quote, federal subcontractors, which is the British municipal, or the British territorial and the municipal. Now, what's the rest of the world supposed to think? Well, we may have somewhat forgotten how things are supposed to work, and we have certainly been duped by certain foreign subcontractors, but the Americans and the American states are still here. We are still able to muster state assemblies of declared Americans in every state of the Union, and we have done so. And this effort we saw throughout 2020 saw us getting all 50 states going. Every state has its assembly, and you can go to this website to get in contact. So, join your state assembly. Enter your state offices, elect your officials, operate the courts that you are heir to, and get a move on. And this is the common law, the lawful courts, not the administrative, the maritime, admiralty, commerce, law merchant courts. The courts she's talking about are our common law courts. And the rest of us are already in motion and organized and standing for our states. But there is a lot of work to be done, and the call is out for all hands on deck. Absolutely. You need to get up and claim your rightful status and property. So go to the AmericanStatesAssembly.net, declare yourself an American state national or state citizen of your state of the Union. This is the unincorporated state. And join your lawful state assembly. Lawful. Then you don't have to worry about who won any private corporation election, because the winners are obligated to do whatever you tell them to do. They are, drumroll, your employees. This is the way it's supposed to be, because you are the actual landowners, possessors, and inheritors of the whole actual and factual enchilada. Please note, what I have just described to you is the American government. You also have a bunch of subcontractors to deal with that are known as the federal government. This is part 2. But I can show you here. This is something, and I can share this as well. The actual sovereign government of the lowercase u, United States of America. And this shows the entire flowchart of, you have the United States, Unincorporated, Union of States. You have the date, the jurisdiction, how the states are said, who inhabits their county courts, common law. Then you have the United States of America, the Federation of States, 7th September 1776, holds the international jurisdictions. These are the states. And I'll post a link here too, when Anna described this entire structure last week, which the video it's on my channel here, as it's the Federal Republic and Reconstruction. But as she stated, the counties don't show up for the international jurisdiction. It is the states in the United States of America. And then here you also have the States of America, the Confederation of States of States. So these are confederation of the business units called State of State. In the global jurisdiction, business, legal persons, in the state of blank, international mercantile law. And here's the subcontractors. You have the republic, the territorial. So you have the federal, which is American. You have the territorial, which is British, and the municipal, which is papist, which has since been dissolved since last summer in June sometime. And what you're seeing now with so-and-so is certain folks trying to restart that corporation without a contract. So we are the employers. Anyway, that's all for the Americans and the patriots and living and the aspiring to be living. Please check out the AmericanStatesAssembly.net. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell, because then you'll get notified when I upload these whatever videos I'm doing, including the Assembly Handbook, which is from the last update was January 2019, I believe. So it's not the most current, but it goes from start to finish on what the assemblies are, how the whole enchilada works, from your unincorporated counties all the way up to the federal and the other subcontractors, and how we're supposed to operate our courts and everything. So it is a good one. I think I'm up to like 7 now, 8 of the sections out of 19. So all right, we'll be finished. And all right, keep your chin up. We got this. Have a good one.